if you're not familiar with ExpressVPN or other things.
Get familiar.
Yeah, get familiar. Not only is it going to protect you online, ExpressVPN hides your IP address and lets you control where you want sites to think that you're located. So if you're out of your, a normal country that you're living in,
right,
you can change your VPN. You can change the address so it thinks that you're somewhere else. But also, it's going to allow you to be able to watch. You can change your VPN. You can watch movies and stream, shows from other countries. So if you are, for instance, with me being in Italy, I can't access shows that are available in the US. I couldn't until now
with ExpressVPN.
Very cool. You guys, right now, you can get a 3 months for free. If you visit our special link at expressvpn.com/reps, you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Support the show. Watch what you want. Protect yourself with ExpressVPN at expressvpn.com/reps.
Sick.
Dude, sound way more excited because we have a guest on our show today.
We're just the best singers ever.
And this is your favorite kind of guest because she's going to tell you how to not age.
It is my favorite kind of guest.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw a yeah on the end of there. Hey
You
guys,
guys.
welcome to Between the Reps with Brooke and Jeanna.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We're going a little crazy.
We're
to be
going
honest.
crazy. We did lots of yard work.
Lots of yard work. We are exhausted. Dragged
We are.
ourselves off the couch to do this.
Yep.
Drinking the claws.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's no laws.
Don't judge us.
All right. We do have a guest on our show today, and I'm just going to go through this little thing, this little write-up about her before I call her on Skype.
Before I call her.
We are having April Umek on our show. She is a physician assistant, and I don't know what the C stands for. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, by her name, like her credentials, it's PA-C. We're going to ask her what that stands for. Gina says, cool. April completed her undergraduate studies at Loyola.
Oh, wow. Loyola
Marymount University in Los Angeles, and holds a Master of Science degree from the Physician Assistant Program at the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey.
So she can also fix my teeth.
Yep.
Thank goodness.
Jackpot. As a nationally accredited physician assistant, April's medical background includes 18 years of experience in women's health, including surgery, deliveries, and patient counseling regarding hormonal therapies and other options to address symptoms of all stages of life, including menopause.
So she's really smart.
She's a little late for you.
April's
April's wide range of clinical experience includes 18 years of practice in an urban emergency department and 4 years of practice working in a busy dermatology and medical aesthetics office. Dude, this woman is a badass. And she plays women's ice hockey.
No.
Yes.
That is cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's some contact sport right there.
Women's ice hockey. She is really, really big in yoga. She's been teaching yoga for 10 years, been practicing for 15.
She's a yogi and plays ice hockey?
Dude, she's got I think she wrote in there,
so
it's
multifaceted.
the yin and yang.
Wow.
It keeps her, zen.
I sit on the couch.
But yeah, enough of me trying to, poorly read all of these all this information. We're going to call April, and our goal for the show, one, is just introduce her, get to know her where her family's from, basically all the things, and for sure talk about where she works at this wellness center, Pacific Coast Aesthetics. It's in Aptos, California, and they're doing a lot of really great stuff there. From the technology, the stuff that they're able to use, the lasers they have, and then also just their biggest goal for what they want the center to look like. And they just really focus a lot on wellness and encompassing, like it said, like kind of everything.
Yeah.
Everything. They want people to come there, and it's like a one-stop shop, but with extremely educated, knowledgeable people that continue education, and they're solely focused on, health and wellness, and not just like,
not just the exterior, but also the
interior. And just not like fixing something by just being like, here, take this medicine. Here, take this, So, all right, we're going to call her.
I want to call her so that she can fix my face. Fix my face, April.
Maggie, no one's out there.
Maggie.
Actually, I think that we're getting a package.
Oh.
All right. Let's try call. It's a package for sure.
I just love the song. I hate looking at myself.
Hey.
Hi.
Can you guys see me okay?
No.
I can't see you. Maybe push the camera button.
Can you see us?
Unfortunately,
Hi.
you can see us.
Yeah, I was like, oh
There
God,
you are.
I can't stare at myself the entire time.
Okay.
Hey.
How are
Can you hear
you?
me okay?
Yes.
All right. We're trying out a new mic. So
Sit down.
who's that?
That's
This is
Maggie.
Hey, Maggie. Oh, she's so cute.
We call her Maggie Terry because she has some terrier in her. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like her alter ego is like when she's bad, she's Terry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
She's being Maggie
Oh,
right
she's
now.
so
When she's
I love
sweet,
dogs.
she's Maggie.
When she's
She's
Terry.
She's mostly troll
She is mostly troll.
and Terry.
She's a garbage dog.
Okay, so we've met, you and I, but
Yeah.
you have not put
I
a
have not
face
had the
to
pleasure
Jeanna.
yet.
Hi, Gina. So
Hi.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Wish it was in person.
I know.
Someday.
I kind of feel like I know you, though, watching your podcast.
Oh,
You guys are awesome and super honest, and we love that. So,
I love that. Thank you.
yeah, super stoked to be here.
Yes.
Good.
So we did one. I think I already told you, and since you've been listening and watching our podcast, you know that this is like a very relaxed,
There is no format.
candid.
Yeah.
So I read a little bit about for like an intro, just like your like school background, and I need to know
What is this?
what does the C stand for in PAC?
Certified. So
Oh,
once
okay.
you graduate, you have to take your boards.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not like you're a PA when you graduate, but you have to pass your boards to actually like practice. So then you earn your little C at the end of your name. So
Nice work.
Very
yeah,
But yeah,
I survived that.
and then Jeanna would love to play women's ice hockey with you.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you would kick butt.
I just said that you were like pretty amazing because it seems like you're very multifaceted because you love yoga, but then you also do ice hockey. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well,
But
they
no,
say it's
I would get hurt.
Well, it's like a yin and a yang thing. You
Yeah.
know, I come from a very much like athletic background. I rode crew and I played volleyball and, picked up hockey way later in life, not till my 30s. And then all of a sudden I had gotten divorced and just something drew me to yoga. I wasn't even very good at it, but the reason I started doing it is because I got tight and I was getting injured and I wasn't stretching enough. And so I started doing yoga and somebody said, you'd be a good teacher. I'm like, I don't know. So I did a training with Rolf Gates and it changed my life. That was about 12 years ago. And he and I have become really good friends and it's been a part of my life. I'm like, this is not my career, but it's something I could share with people, but also for my body. As I got older, it kept me limber and then more my brain was calm.
Right.
Uh-oh, I
Sounds
see a
like-
look.
What? No.
I see a look.
No.
I think that it could be good for you.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, no, I wasn't
see
giving you a
Brooke
look.
looking at
It's Brooke
you.
giving me a look.
I've
She's like,
taken
Jeanna,
I've
you
taken Jeanna
need to do
I've taken Jeanna to one yoga class.
horrible. Horrible.
Well,
I'm the
So
no.
the thing is,
There's a couple
it's
things.
got to be the right yoga.
Well, they're not. I mean, it's kind of like I hate fish, right? And every single person tells me, Jeanna, you got to eat the fish because I make it this way, and I do this and I do that, and I go every single time. I'm like, okay, and I love that you're sipping wine right now.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
told her we were drinking.
Yes.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Whoop.
Cheers, ladies.
So, and I still hate fish. I think that yoga would be good for me, but there's a couple things. I'm not limber. I don't like stretching, and I don't really like being in my head. I don't like being calm. I don't like it quiet. So
Right.
there's a lot of things that I would have a lot of work to do to get there.
What if I was on the mat next to you and I
would just be laughing the whole
and
time.
I just it wasn't
Right?
quiet.
That's okay.
So it wasn't quiet. I sang a little bit
You're gonna give me a lullaby through yoga.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I mean, I'm always willing to keep trying. So
my thing is, my classes were like vinyasa kind of power yoga classes. I play rock music. So in the beginning, it's like more soothing. And then at the end, when you're like, you've done a workout, you are sweating like you did a CrossFit workout. It's the weirdest thing. But if you do it right, and that's kind of my kind of class. So we should do like a private one when things are better. And the music, it's all about the music.
I've heard about different places that play like more like music.
Yeah.
You know, besides just your
Yoga
typical,
music.
like what you think about, like what you think, what you would think that they would play. A lot of places do play, but I've heard about places like what you said you do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm totally game for trying anything, so I would definitely do it.
Okay.
I might laugh. I might laugh through it. Okay.
Well, it's literally like yoga for athletes, because I was like you. I couldn't sit still. I needed a workout. I was like, I went to a couple classes. I'm like, this is so not for me. I was not skinny like this. I have like muscles and, you know, I'm not in the shape I used to be in, but still it's like, it was intimidating for me even like to go in, because I'm like, I'm not flexible. I'm strong. And over time I became flexible and I got faster. I got stronger, you know, and as you get older, you get, you know, I was listening to your thing, Brooke, about your neck and everything. And that's really intense. And it's so hard for an elite athlete. You know, I've never at your level, but I could only imagine. I broke my ankle 3 years ago playing roller hockey. And it's the first real injury I've had. And so I made it like 40 years of my life without anything major. And then here I am, I can't walk for 7 weeks. I had to have surgery. I couldn't work. And it was devastating, you know, and it was that whole mental thing you were talking about, like learning to do things for you and not to prove anything to anybody else. Right. And, you know, I had to kind of come back from that. And it's, you know, it's pretty intense, but I think it makes you a way stronger person. And I admire that. So
definitely.
Thank you. Oh. I want you to know, Jeanna, that you'll always also be doing it for me, though. Just as I do it for you, like I mowed your lawn today.
I know. Oh my gosh.
We did before this.
You got to get a friend like Brooke, because she has been, ever since I moved into my house, she has been begging to mow my lawn. And I don't mean that in a sexual way. I mean, she literally has been trying to get out to physically mow my lawn.
I just, every time I go over, I'm like, and you know, if I just bring my lawnmower up here.
And I keep telling her, it's all uneven. I'm a little worried. There's like rocks, like you could get hurt. Or no. She came over today, brought her lawnmower and mowed my entire yard. It looks amazing.
And just if you guys are like, okay, I get it. It's a big yard.
I mean, it's not that big, but I mean,
like, it's a yard with grass. No,
it's like hills.
It's hills and potholes and like who she bought it from for sure was hoarded a lot of stuff that somehow got lots in the yard.
Lots of strange little bits of bricks and it's very strange. It's very strange.
So many different types of plants that are
probably weeds. Mostly weeds. Yeah,
no, definitely weeds.
The obstacle course.
But you know what?
It was.
How much better does it look?
I mean, it looks way better. Way better.
And she also, you did pull weeds.
I did.
She was pulling weeds while I was mowing.
What was funny is that as she was working the whole time, I just kept like sneaking over and finding shade and sitting down and
drinking a White Claw.
Drinking a White Claw and pulling weeds.
Because I'm just resting for a minute.
Yeah, every time she looked over, I quickly pretend that I was pulling another one. But anyway, okay. Well, back to April.
Yeah, enough about us.
We always get off topic.
Yeah, I love it.
So April, I have a question for you. Sure. How can you help my face?
Well, so what kind of my whole little background, you know, my background is women's health. So for 20 years, I delivered babies, did pap smears and all that good stuff. And then,
I need a pap smear, so I'm just kidding.
We can do that on the side. While we're in there.
She wants it just to
can we do
make her feel
the
like
downstairs and the upstairs at once?
So the funny thing is, which I'll get into in a second, we had just added, and we were going to have a big open house before all the shelter in place thing happened. So we're going to be launching it hopefully soon. Diva. So our laser we're the only ones in Santa Cruz County that have the Cyton laser, which is the top laser on the planet. And it's anti-aging, it gets rid of sunspots, it creates collagen. But our new handpiece, the Diva, is the only laser that with the technology, it helps increase moisture down there. It helps with dryness, incontinence.
We're talking about the vagina right now.
Yes, the vagina.
Okay.
Yes, sorry, I wasn't clear.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
It uses the technology we use on the face or neck or chest, the outer skin, but it's different settings. And there's a couple other lasers that are out there for women that have dryness. You know, again, you hit menopause, and even before that, people have little issues. And they were so-so. And this is the first one that literally treats the depth of the pelvic floor. So it actually helps to lift the bladder, as long as it's not super severe.
Right.
So, you know, like, I haven't had kids, but in my 30s, when I was working out, I started like, oh my God, I'm going to pee myself. How is this possible? You
Very
know?
common, yes.
And that's not okay. You're 30, you know, but that sort of thing occurs there. And then women have kids, gets even worse. And then you age a little bit, you have hormonal changes, you get dry. And the same thing that's happening for our face and our neck and our chest, why we get wrinkles and spots, is happening down there. We lose collagen. And estrogen is a big part of that. And so this literally thickens the lining so that it's like the lining of a 25-year-old when you're 55.
Sign me up.
Oh, girl. You thought you were going to look and feel the best at 50. You're going to look and feel the best on the inside and the outside by 55.
All I just keep thinking is like
so
the inside of my vagina looks like my face.
I thought the exact same
like
thing.
just wrinkles and like sunspots.
You're aging on the outside and the inside.
Oh,
Well,
wow. You're like, well,
sadly,
actually,
you know.
yes, that's sadly, it's true.
Well, we had kind
Okay.
of talked about, like, let's say CrossFit, because that's what I know the most. There are so many women that like, are pretty young that
pee
they
themselves.
just come to terms with it. Like, yeah, I
Double
pee,
unders for sure.
like all the time.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's sad because, you know, like, as a woman, to me, it's really important to have some muscle mass. And as you get older, you know, and you approach menopause, muscle is what burns calories and things, you know, and that's what burns fat. And once you start to lose your muscle mass, that's how you break bones. That's how you get like, you know,
Right.
and
We call it the melting
you
ice
can-
cream cone.
right.
You start to look like a
which
melting
is,
ice cream cone. Yes.
yeah, which is sad.
It's happening to me.
But CrossFit's super intense. I've done like a little bit. So it's funny because my mentor, Rolf Gates, he actually lives here in Santa Cruz. I'd love to introduce him to you guys because he got me into CrossFit with our other friend, and we would just rent the little room because he was too scared. Like that, he was not scared. I will take that back. This man was an Army Ranger and one of the gnarliest humans I've ever met.
Yeah.
And then he turned into a world famous yoga meditation teacher. But he loves to work out. He loves to surf, and he's in his early 50s now. So we would like rent the thing, and he was, the coach would like give him workouts, and I would tag along. And I'm like, holy cow, it took me back to my rowing days where you're like pulling the ropes and the whole thing, you know, but I could see like, you know, it's very intense. And sometimes for women, their pelvic floor gets stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on your collagen, your ethnicity, you know, and sometimes it depends on nothing. You could literally have a prolapse. My boyfriend is a ER nurse, and he said, my God, there was a 29-year-old gal who works out pretty hard that she came in the ER with a vaginal prolapse, meaning her uterus just went, and she like freaked out.
I'm not laughing
Honestly,
because that happened.
I've never, I've like joked about, I've joked about like when I'm on my period, my menstrual cycle. I say that for Gina.
Menstrual
And I'm like cramping so much, and I'll say like, oh, my uterus is falling out. I didn't realize that's a
thing.
real
It's
possibility.
a thing. I've heard about it, but I thought it was just like really old people.
Is it just because you don't, like, this isn't closed?
Well, it's
So
like it's your muscles, right?
Your ligaments, your ligaments that hold everything in place, they start to stretch. And again, for her, I don't know what her background was. I just know she worked out a lot. And Kegels only go so far, you know, and I'm really hippy dippy, like holistic. And that's why, like, with our office, I'm like, instead of like chasing aging with Botox and fillers, like, do this stuff with a laser, get your skin on board, and you will look, I mean, I'm 46 now. And when I was 38, I hit the wall. I like had great skin because my mom was Colombian. So that olive tone, and I grew up in Southern California, and I never laid out, but I always was outdoors rowing and whatever. And I had great skin. And then one day I woke up like wrinkly and sunspots, and I was working night shift in the ER. I'm like, where am I getting this from? I'm not even in the sun, but it was my 38 years of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I started delving into the world of laser because I didn't want to do anything. I'm like, I will never do Botox. I'll never do any of that.
I used to say that
and
too.
then I realized, like, this isn't about vanity. I want to look refreshed, and I want to look healthy. And all of a sudden, I always look like 10 years younger than my age. And now all of a sudden people are like, you look so tired. What's wrong?
That's horrible.
Are you okay? Why?
Yes.
Are you sick?
Right.
Yeah.
And I hated that. And so I secretly like put my head between my legs and like crept to this place and like did some basic laser, and it really like cleared up my skin. And then as I started delving into this world, my mom got a pre-melanoma. My mom, who's Colombian, got a pre-melanoma on her face. And I watched her go through Mohs surgery and a crazy, crazy thing. And I said, this is fascinating, and thank God they caught it early.
Yeah.
But if that can happen to a Colombian person, think about everybody else, right?
Us but white people, for sure.
I was fascinated. I started going into derm, and, aesthetics is kind of part of it. But I wanted to bring my background, and when we finally had the opportunity to open our own place, my business partner, he's an ER doctor. He's like absolutely amazing. One of the best ER doctors you could imagine, but super goofy and super smart. And I said, this is what I want. I want to create something like this. And then I found one of my friends who is this awesome esthetician, but she's very like charismatic. She was a model, so she's gorgeous, but getting older. And I said, you could use our laser, you could have a halo. And I said, what we're going to open up is a place that focuses on wellness. And I want to teach, some yoga classes, meditation, but you also need to work out. We want to bring in nutrition. And I feel like we've been open exactly a year. I have met the most, and like Brooke walks in and I'm like, the most incredible people in this last year of my life that are supposed to like come in, because I feel like they're like what I love and the energy, that I love. And it's been like one after another, and so I'm not even sure, like year 2 is going to be insane, but we want to do it in a way where, again, it's not just injectables and whatnot.
Right.
It's about everything.
That's so cool.
Like, again, when I was talking to Brooke, I'm like, how old are you? And she did all this stuff, and I looked into you, and I was watching Ultimate Tag last night.
I know. Wasn't she so, like, wasn't it cool to watch?
So cool.
I know.
I literally, though, just total side note, I had I don't get anxiety ever, usually. I was like panicking for the contestants because I said, those guys, can you imagine letting one of those loose and now they're chasing you?
No. And
it's not even like you're going to tackle them or like do something. You're just trying to grab the thing. Yeah. But I was like, oh my God, run. That is so crazy. It was really like super awesome. You're like superheroes,
Yeah,
especially
really cool.
Especially like when Tavon, the Flow, or like Jesse, they're just so incredible for free running and parkour, and they are so
they're just like
effortlessly just floating
over all of the obstacles. Like if I saw that, if I was just running and saw somebody floating over,
right?
Yeah, it would be terrifying. Right? Terrifying.
I know.
Yeah.
No, that was super cool. And literally like with a smile, which is what I love. You know, it's awesome.
Gina, do you remember when you were in Italy with me?
Yes.
And it was when we had some downtime, it was extremely difficult to find anything to watch.
We couldn't find anything.
Nothing, because my iPad, my laptop, and our phones we weren't able to access the shows from like Netflix and stuff online that you could access when you were in the States.
Right.
Because we didn't have ExpressVPN.
Well, now we can.
Yeah. You guys, ExpressVPN, not only is it, for me, super attractive for just having protection, privacy, security with online type stuff. But with all of us spending so much time at home right now and probably getting really bored with a lot of the options we have on Netflix, ExpressVPN hides your IP address and lets you control where you want sites to think that you're located. So if you're out of your, a normal country that you're living in,
right,
you can change your VPN. You can change the address so it thinks that you're somewhere else, and you can access other shows or things to watch.
Right, because it's not just Netflix.
No,
it works with any streaming service. I mean, there's Hulu, BBC, iPlayer, YouTube, you name it.
Yeah, and you can choose from almost 100 different countries. So just think about all the Netflix libraries you can go through.
So many.
So if you guys want to check it out, which I highly recommend it, if you visit our special link right now at expressvpn.com/reps, you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free.
Which we all need that right now.
Yes.
3 months, extra 3 months.
So support our show because you love us. Watch what you want and protect yourself with ExpressVPN at expressvpn.com/reps.
Protect yourself. Protect yourself.
And so, that's kind of the vibe we're trying to portray. And people come in and, they're like, wow, this place feels very zen and like comfortable, but we get stuff done. Our laser will transform you, and it will, if you're already in a good place, it's going to make things even better. And you don't have to do a lot of things is the other thing. You guys are busy.
Yeah.
You don't need to be in here once a month doing some kind of treatment,
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I felt like with microneedling and all this other stuff, like I just didn't see the results that I thought people should have. The downtime, like who has time for downtime, So she
rich
you
people.
guys,
Rich people. Not us.
Yeah, right.
Not us, but rich people do. Yeah. So there's something else that you guys, Brooke was showing me that I'm really interested in finding out about, which is the BBL laser.
Yeah, I was trying to, because remember how you had mentioned
There's
to
the
me.
Halo and then the BBL.
Yeah. As soon as I got to Gina's house, I was like,
no. Or
This
in
the
even
gym.
Better. No, this is even better. She goes, yeah, I looked into this thing and they have vaginal rejuvenation. Like looking at me, and I was like, she goes, it's for dryness. And I was like, I'm not dry. I was the first person she thought of, like, oh, Jeanna needs that. Yeah, anyway.
Well, I've been trying to mow your lawn for years.
Now that
I wouldn't know if you're dry.
Now that I know that the inside of my vagina looks like my face, then I'm probably going to have to do it. But yeah, no, I was interested in this BBL thing.
And the Halo. I tried to like read through the website,
Right.
and we like read through it and looked at the photos of your office manager. Kristen.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Adorable.
But I'm not the person to obviously trying to explain it to myself or to her. So could you walk us through both of those procedures?
Definitely.
Sweet.
So BBL is called broadband light, and it's basically, you may have heard of IPL. So a lot of the older lasers, intense pulse light, and that's what I first had when I started. Mm-hmm. What it does is it's very superficial. It doesn't like pierce through the skin, but it creates a reaction in the skin that lifts sun damage. So any spots you see on your face that have popped up over the years, that's sun damage, which any of those can turn to skin cancer. So this is not just to make you look better. It's actually a medical, it should honestly be covered by insurance. Not right now, maybe down the road.
Hopefully.
But it will lift brown spots. If you have red, so a lot of people will get red vessels around their nose, or like a rosacea kind of look, or just very pink and vascular. It also helps with that. So when Phyton was created, it's made by hand in Palo Alto, like for each office. It's it's very expensive, but for a reason. It's so well engineered. So what they did was BBL is the sapphire glass that touches you. It's bigger, it can cool you better, and it has 7 different filters. So if you're fair, like you guys, I could be really aggressive on because you don't have a lot of melanin underneath. But if you have some Italian, Greek, Asian, stuff like that, you have to be a little careful. So I can pick filters. So even if somebody's darker skin, I can safely do this. It's going to take more treatments maybe, but it's incredible. So it will lift the brown. So any spots you have, 7 to 10 days later, those come off. The red vessels usually immediately go away, which is super cool.
Oh, wow.
And there's a guy over the hill, Dr. Bitter in Los Gatos, who he was one of like the early pioneers with this laser. And he said his patients were coming back going, for this price and no downtime, because once you clean up all the stuff on your face, they're saying my texture looks better. People are commenting that I have this like nice little glow to my face. I want to keep going. He goes, I wonder what's happening, because we're not stimulating collagen deep or whatever. So he did a 10-year study at Stanford. You did this twice a year. You weren't allowed to do Botox or anything else. These people literally de-aged. So 10 years later, they looked younger than the day they started.
Those are the
and
pictures. Those are the pictures I was telling you about.
That's crazy.
Plastic surgeons, this was no joke. And like we have the photos in our office of the study, and even their deeper lines got better, which is really weird.
Yeah.
So he biopsied the skin along the way. And what he found was your anti-aging genes, sadly at 30. So here we go, Brooke. We got to start. You're like at your peak right now. You're at your peak.
I can actually see you looking shittier.
Oh, good thing you look shitty with me.
Yeah, that's why you're friends with me. I'll always feel like I look good. Sorry. Go ahead, April.
No, you guys both look amazing. First of all,
everybody says that. Thanks.
We have very dark humor.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
But basically, all of that in your 30s starts to go down. So you lose the equivalent of a syringe of filler a year after 30. And so by the time women hit 50, if they haven't done anything to stimulate collagen, you've lost the equivalent of 20 syringes of filler. We're not going to put that in your face.
Wow.
You'd be like a maniac, but it's to give you an idea of what's actually happening, right? Mm-hmm. So this machine was literally turning those genes back on and shutting off your cancer genes, which start to turn on as you age. And they did PCR testing. They did testing where you can see the genes lighting up, and it was lighting back up, which is super exciting. And that's the new stuff in medicine, epigenetics. And you can control your genes. Only 10% of your genes, no matter what you do, you're stuck with that. Yeah. The other 90%, you can turn on and off. You think about muscle memory, even if you stop working out for a while, but then you go back to it, you're turning those genes back on. That's why that happens for people. So with this, you're literally turning your anti-aging genes back on. And that's why these folks started looking younger and younger. And we've had people in their 60s who do this for years. If you stare at them, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
You're looking better and better. You haven't had plastic surgery. You haven't done anything drastic, and they just do BBL. So that is a super low downtime anything. You know?
But how often are they doing this? Are they doing it once a year, twice a year?
They were doing it twice a year in the study. Is that what you said?
Okay. Sorry. Yep. I missed that part.
I know Dr. Bitter, he has his patients come every 4 months. I do mine twice a year. There is zero downtime. People will come on their lunch break. It's quick. It's fine. So that all happened. And then Halo came about. So Halo is the world's only hybrid fractional laser. And not to get too geeky, but there's two wavelengths.
Talk nerdy to me.
There's two wavelengths. And it creates, you may have heard of Fraxel in the past.
Yeah.
Pop, pop,
I've
pop,
had
pop.
Fraxel and IPL before.
So with Fraxel, you look kind of crazy afterwards. You can have a hamburger meat sort of look.
Yeah.
Our patients, when they have a halo, literally look like $1 million when they leave. They're very hot, but they look like $1 million. And it's because they took the Fraxel technology, but they took two wavelengths. They spare a little healthy tissue. So there's it's like aerating the lawn, not mowing the lawn.
Oh, okay.
And that's the difference.
Okay.
Mowing the lawn is all those older lasers, CO2. And that's why you look like bloody hamburger meat for 2 months. And then it takes years to actually your skin looks like a burn victim, sadly. It's like this.
Slough.
Yeah, you look pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This, you have none of that. And the skin looks intact, but it has these little micro holes. The next day, you will swell a little bit. Like I swell a lot for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they'll swell if I go deep around the eyes, that sort of thing. If women have a lot of wrinkles around their mouth, they've never done anything. Now we got to go backwards. I'll go deeper there.
Yeah.
But if you don't need that and you're doing it prior to that, your downtime is so minimal. And then you'll get these tiny little spots. They're called MENS, MENDS, and it's old dead tissue kind of coming up. By day, you saw Kristen's pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So by, day 3, 4, and she's like got a little bit of European, Croatian, Italian in her. So she gets more MENS. Some folks like you guys, you may get some, but you won't see as much the fairer you are. By day 3, day 4, that's the worst of it. And you saw what she looked like. She came to work every day. You can actually put some healthy makeup over it.
Mm-hmm.
And by day 5, as you're washing her face, it's coming off. And by day 6, you look like, her skin. It's insane.
Wow.
So without looking like hamburger meat, running a risk of infection, because that's another thing. You're creating these little micro holes that heal in 24 hours. So you can't have your puppy lick your face for 24 hours. That's about it.
Sorry,
but other
Maggie.
than that.
Yeah, sorry, Maggie.
Yeah. Oh, Maggie.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's such insane downtime. And, in non-COVID times, I will do my thing. I work every day. I know I'm really swollen the next day, but I can't even tell because you don't feel it.
Right.
And then I go to wash my hands. I'm like,
oh
I haven't touched it. Yeah. And then by the next night, I had gone out to eat. 2 days later, I was playing hockey. And I don't tell people you can do this because you're wearing a helmet. It's probably not the best idea.
Right.
But I'm just saying this is how safe it is, And you do that once a year, you are in great shape.
Really? So would you...
Halo once a year, BBL twice.
Oh, so both.
Yeah.
So you would do them together.
Yes. So you can do the BBL and the Halo together.
Uh-huh.
But you only have to do Halo once a year.
Okay.
And then 6 months later, you do another quick BBL because we're always picking up pigment.
Okay.
I don't care how much sunscreen you
I've got
use
pigment
and
showing
how
up
good you are.
every day.
Yeah, she was
every
looking.
day.
She was just kind of looking at my face, and she could see where I had some dark pigmentation coming through around here.
Oh.
So she had mentioned we would do a Halo, but she could just localize certain areas with the, with the BBL. Right?
Right.
Because I have,
Exactly.
I have so many age spots popping up on my face. It's crazy. It's like, I literally just 3 months ago, I felt my face looked pretty decent. And all of a sudden it was 1, 2, it was all over. It's everywhere. It's overnight. It's crazy.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, if you don't mind telling us, how much would that cost?
So the
typically,
BBL itself is usually about $450, kind of Bay Area kind of prices, we're about there, some places a little more. And then the Halo depends on how deep you go.
Okay.
So it depends on you guys looking at your skin when you're starting at a good time where you don't have deep etched in lines, usually starts around 1,500. And that includes all your post-care products, things like that.
Right.
When people have waited too long and we have to do a lot of deep work, let's say around the mouth, and everybody's like, I don't smoke. I've never smoked. Where are these lines from?
Oh, I have
your
them
Starbucks
really bad.
coffee cup, your water bottle,
Yeah.
And those are all the things that you start to see. Those people you have to do a lot more.
Okay.
And so the price goes up a little bit.
Yeah.
Honestly, considering the results you get, the different the change and how quickly you heal, it is nothing compared to a lot of other things. Because I've done all the treatments, at different places, and I just found nothing worked as well as this, as rapidly as this.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper than anything else. You'll see something, and
I wasn't ignoring you. I was on my phone and I was just adding it up, and I was like, oh, that's $116 a month.
Right?
That's
you
not
for looking
bad.
At that.
That's not bad.
We should actually market that way. Yeah.
I know.
If we're getting a facial once a month,
I just added it. Say it's $450 times 2, right? And then you add
more on coffee.
But that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Wait, did I do that right?
I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
$450 for the BBL?
Yeah. Sorry, I could have done it wrong. Hold on. I might have just lied.
When you do them together, we also discount that a little because you're in the room one time. We're using less products and things like that. So it's sorry, I don't know the price off the top of my head, but it's actually less. So when people
no, it's more than that. It's like close to 200. Yeah,
but still,
what I spend already on
products,
facial products, and like all the other stuff. And if you're doing Botox or anything else, it's like when you break it down, I would be more than happy to pay that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the other thing is I found you need less fillers. You need less of this other stuff when you do this.
That's like the photos you showed me.
Like me.
So what age would you say that you should start? Oh, sorry.
I was going to say was like the photos that you showed of like all the different ages that weren't doing, like were in the study that weren't allowed to do anything extra.
Right.
And you were seeing these people, like all their lines gone.
Softening.
And like, and there's like these pictures of people that are in, they're older.
Right.
And they look way younger.
Right. If you,
and
what if you,
so cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What if you only did the BBL and not the halo? Not the same thing.
So if you did the BBL, you would get, again, you remove spots and all of that, help with red. And you would see over time a very kind of a slow change. And that's why it took years, to see. I mean, like Brooke said, the people with like etched in deep lines, that's what we were shocked. Why does it help? Halo should help with that because you're creating holes, you're going deep to create the collagen, blah, blah, blah. Why is it helping? But it's because the genes are turning back on. With the halo, you get this insane glow to your face. Like I had mine a little while ago, and it was like, I always love the week after I heal because you just see this like beautiful baby healthy skin come out. And then 3 to 6 months later, the collagen gets to the surface. So you start to see like a lift, and that's why you need less filler. So with BBL, you're not going to create that much collagen. You're going to see a superficial smoothing.
Okay. And
it's really good at helping wipe out all that damage as it's coming up. The halo gets deeper and creates that little bit of a lift. So you get plump, you get this deep glow. And there's like you see little kids and their skin's just like bright and shiny. That's what you get. And they call it the halo glow,
I just want to steal all their skin.
Just steal their youth.
I would suck out all their youth.
All their youth.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting. I'm definitely doing it.
Now,
me too. She was talking to me about it, and she was like, have you done any lasers before? And I think I did. I can't remember. Maybe I did the IPL one time.
Oh, okay.
Kat did it.
Yeah.
And it was the only time I've done it.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of like getting an idea of certain things, and she started just explaining some of the things they have at Pacific Coast, and I was like, "Yep."
Sign me up.
And I was like, oh my God, Jeanna is going to love this place.
That and the vaginal rejuvenation.
I walked into the gym and I was like, oh, okay. You're going to be so excited.
She did.
Look what I found.
I was like, we were at our house and I was like, okay, we have to look at these photos.
I know, we did. That's what we did the entire time.
Oh. Totally. But I totally, it's funny because, I love you guys because, again, I came from this background where it's like, it's about being naturally, healthy and fit and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm an only child. I always swore my dad wanted a boy because he would support any athletics I did, anything. And I wasn't girly at all. My poor mom, terrible. But it was something that was so ingrained in me, just be physically healthy. And I was a super late bloomer and all I cared about was sports. And then, again, you hit a certain point in life where it's like, I didn't want to do it. And I kind of felt bad. I didn't want to do it for am I being vain or,
that's how I was, raised.
And I said, no, from the bottom of my heart, like I said, I've done 20 years of women's health, 7 years of emergency room, urgent care, and then delving into this world. I get so much patient satisfaction because so many women of all ages come back, and when they look in the mirror, and especially through times like this, it's kind of gnarly. People are reaching out. I'm like, well, we're not allowed to do this or that, and everything's changing, and you don't know. But prior to this, people are like, I just feel good, you know, like my mom just died. I'm having a really hard time, or I just went through a divorce. So many women in their 40s, late 40s, you know, going through that. And they just look in the mirror, and when they look good, instantly your dopamine goes, your serotonin goes.
Dude, look good,
and they
feel good.
better.
Yeah.
And then they go and start to work out. My one friend, she like is the head of like this huge marketing company, like makes more money than God, but she just started gaining tons of weight. She was waking up at 4 a.m. to work and was not healthy. She finally had a halo. She was like scared and nervous. We just did it. She goes, oh my God, I'm seeing like how my skin looks. She's now drinking green tea. She's working out every day. She goes, let's see how long this lasts. But it's motivating her to take care of her body because her face looks good.
Right.
And I am so like over the moon with that. We did a diva a while ago on a lady. Normally you do, it's the vaginal rejuvenation.
Yeah.
I love the name diva, by the way. I'm
Me
like,
too.
Yeah. The diva.
That's
I'm
awesome.
gonna start calling my vagina diva.
yeah, why not? Why not?
My diva.
So,
It
diva.
is diva.
Stop
But
being such
you
a
do
diva
3
right
of them.
now.
So you do one a month for 3 months is the treatment. And then depending on your age, if you're young, you may not need another one for 20 years. You know, it may correct your issues. And then if things start up again, you just do a quick treatment one time.
Okay.
If you're postmenopausal, you just may need a touch up every once in a while, you know, once a year or whatever.
Right.
So we had a woman, she's super active. She hikes 20 miles. She leads these hikes. It's like crazy. And she has not really been able to be intimate with her partner, her husband, who she loves. And like, she's so vibrant. I think she's in her like mid to late 50s. And she had one treatment and he was so excited because she's like, okay, let's try this. And she's super sarcastic and whatever. She said it was amazing.
Wow.
She had no pain for the first time in years. She didn't have to use lubricants. And
She's all greased up.
he was beyond like over the moon. And that's such an important component for people, you know. And so many, like 30% of women say, you know, I want my doctor to bring it up, and they don't.
Yeah.
So I think there's nothing you can do. This is part of being a woman. Oh, this is what happens. It's BS. And so we're just trying to get the word out. Like, and again, this should be covered by insurance. This is purely medical.
Right.
You know, it's not aesthetic. And it's sad that not every OBGYN office has one of these,
Right.
you know.
It seems like it's just, you know, there's so many things for women that is like people don't talk about because it's almost like if you
Taboo.
have this, there's something so wrong with you. Like there needs to be.
You have a dry pussy. Ew, gross.
I mean, by looking at your face,
I can tell by how dry your face is that your pussy's dry.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, it just happened to me the other night. Some guy said that to me. I'm just kidding. I'm just
you
kidding.
wish. But in all seriousness, it's like we are trained. It's like there can't be anything wrong with you. And then if it is wrong, it's like there needs to be something of normalizing the normal. Like, you know, and it's like that's why it probably is where it's not even spoken about from doctors because they probably don't even think about it or consider it because
totally.
Or maybe they don't even know what's out there. I feel like there's so many doctors that are so complacent. And I think that they just have been doing the same thing for so long. You know how people used to not want a young doctor? They'd always want like an older doctor. Yeah. It's actually the opposite because there's so much new science happening all the time that you want a younger doctor, somebody who's gone through medical school in the last 5 years, you know, because they're coming up with so much stuff every single year that is so different. And so I think that that's part of the problem.
You are so right.
Thank you, April.
You couldn't have said it better. And I had a woman who was also, she was like 60 and we were talking about this and she had no problem like discussing it. She goes, this is so interesting because I went in for my pap smear and she was complaining to her doctor that like everything was like getting painful. She's getting a lot of UTIs. It's all lack of estrogen and all that. And it was a man and he's like, you know, and he was like getting uncomfortable and she's been happily married, but she's like, I can't do anything like that either, you know, and even it's not just sex. It's like comfort.
Right.
Yeah.
And getting UTIs. Like, these are medical problems.
UTIs are
But she goes, and
miserable.
sex,
So
forget about
miserable.
that.
Yeah.
You know? So he's looking at her literally like a deer in headlights, she said, because he's so uncomfortable, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I was like on the verge of crying for her.
Yeah.
And she goes, so what's happening? And he gave her the medical explanation. Well, you're losing estrogen, and then everything's getting drier, and you have decreased blood flow, blah, 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 blah. Okay, thank
so
you.
Fix it.
And
Yeah.
that's
Nothing.
it. Moving on. So do you need your mammogram? You know? And so she thought there's nothing else you can do.
Right.
And a lot of, OBGYNs sadly don't realize that there's things you can do. And not for nothing, they're in a world of insurance and billing. I was in that world for
Right.
years, but I was always out of the box and looking at, like, again, how other things can help you be healthy. These folks are, not to beat down on them. It's hard. You're seeing, a patient every 15 minutes now. Insurance pays you nothing, blah, blah, blah. It's
Sure.
the story of medicine. So, and these are very intimate conversations.
Right.
You got to sit down and chat, And if you're being pushed and you got to be out the door in 15 minutes and you still have to do a pap smear and a full exam, this doesn't come up. And they don't know. And they don't have $300,000 lasers. Like,
Right.
it just, and now everything's corporate. That's the other thing. When I grew up in OBGYN, we were a tiny, like, mom and pop shop. It was me and Dr. Kuteri. Like, we were together alone. He started that practice, this big Italian guy. It was amazing, for 12 years. And then all of a sudden he had to sell it to a big corporation because he just couldn't make it anymore.
Right.
And it went, it just, everything changed. And that's how
quality
everything
of
is
care
around
goes
here.
down. Sure. Yeah.
So you're just not going to get the info over the hill. Like, if you've got money and you, like, do some research, you'll see offices are starting to have Diva because the high-end offices carry Cyton. And so they're starting to bring this in. A lot of the women's groups, interestingly, in OBGYN are pulling in lasers because they're women.
Right.
And, I'm starting to have these problems,
Right.
and, so the doctors are having the problem. So lo and behold, a laser shows up in their office.
Yeah. I don't think the male
Diva's the only
doctors are
one.
that worried about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a long road,
Mm-hmm.
but Diva's the first one that literally can address everything, because most of the older ones just address the dryness. So that's the superficial stuff, but never the deep pelvic floor stuff. And
Interesting.
I mean, believe me, I tried everything, biofeedback therapy and all this other stuff. And it's really intensive stuff. People don't have time for it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other things. The jade egg, I'm, like, delving into this world now. I think there's a lady here in Santa Cruz that I want to reach out to kind of send her patients and have her send patients.
I don't want to put an egg up my
explain this
hoo-ha.
egg
Is
thing?
that where you hold it?
Neither do I.
You hold it?
I've seen, like,
You
this
hold it in there?
I've seen it on social media.
Yeah.
And it's like the Yanni egg.
Wait, do you just pop it in your pussy and you just have to hold it there?
You do, and you, like, squeeze, and if it's, I mean, you have to.
Just like,
I'm sorry.
just pop it in and then
sorry. And then you just squeeze it. And someone's like, I just feel like Brooke's just sitting in the corner, just making this weird face. I'm like, what are you doing?
What's she doing?
Just got
She's exercising.
I'm just doing my egg exercises.
Is
right
it
now.
any, like, I guess, I love that I asked you to tell me about it, and I'm like, here, let me keep asking you questions.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like Benoit balls?
In a sense, yeah.
Okay.
Because again, what it does, if people tell you do a Kegel, most women contract their abs. All that's going to do is maybe give you halfway decent abs, not even, because you're not doing, like,
yeah, the actual
exercise.
Contracting your hoo-ha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you do that, you can, like, when you're, not to be too graphic, when you're peeing,
Yeah.
you stop the stream.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a Kegel.
I'm doing them right now.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, my sister used to clench her butt cheeks and thought that was Kegels. That is a dummy.
Yeah, no, too far back.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta go forward a little, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
And it's really hard to isolate that. It's hard to find those specific muscles, but those are the ones that are going to prevent you from peeing and have that issue. So, the egg and all that will, like, really target those muscles. So I think, honestly, like, if you did your Divas, You did your series of 3 and then you're done. To maintain your results longer so you don't have to do another one for a while, if you did something like an egg, that's kind of like your maintenance.
Oh, okay.
Just like if you do a halo once a year, and then every once in a while, like we have awesome estheticians that do medical grade skincare, feels amazing. They're sucking out all the gunk out of your pores. And like, I don't wear makeup, but I'm always shocked what my little jar looks like because they push in fluid and suck stuff out. I'm like, ugh. And it's just from sunscreen, pollution outside,
Right.
you know, like all our environmental things. So to maintain your halo results, it's nice to do a nice skincare every once in a while. It's a nice treat for yourself, you know, every couple months. This is the same sort of thing. If you put an egg in there and
I could
you
hard boil you an
contract
egg.
There's a
Sorry,
thing
I'm
that
listening.
I'm like, I don't know if you've heard of Kim Anami. She's huge on social media.
Himanami?
She is. You got to pull up your phone right now. You got to look her up. She has hung surfboards out of her vagina.
Stop
So
it.
she'll like
Stop.
stick something in there.
And
And
just-
her pelvic floor is so strong. There's a chain coming
I've
out.
heard of like
and there's a
people
fork.
doing that.
Stop.
Okay, what's her name?
Himanami?
Kim Anami.
Himanami?
Hold on.
Oh, Shimanami.
Shimanami?
Kim.
Kim.
Oh,
Kim.
Kimanami.
I think it's let's see.
Dude.
Got it. ANAMI.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe so.
Holistic sex plus relationship expert.
What?
Vaginal weightlifter.
Stop
surfer,
it.
Yeah.
surfer and
So I thought you'd
orgasmic
appreciate
enlightenment.
this.
Wait, I want to
But
see where
I
she's
don't
hanging a
know-
surfboard
Okay.
off of
Where the
hoo-ha.
heck are the photos? I don't
Dude.
see it on Instagram here, but
Might not be allowed.
that's where-
I don't know. People do
Does it
put
just
some
show
crazy stuff on there.
It doesn't show her actual vagina. It just probably just shows it
Just
hanging.
the chain.
she's like a vaginal fitness guru. And God, where
If
are
I
those
was a dude,
photos?
I would
Somebody
be
showed me.
scared to death
Dude,
of
her thing
I'd be
right here
like-
says Vag Kung Fu.
So there's this one photo. I don't know. Yes, Vag Kung Fu. So this photo right here,
She would
there's
break.
like a huge crystal hanging out of her hoo-ha. I don't know. if
Oh
you
my
can
gosh,
see
look
it.
at that.
It's like,
She has a
She's a
chandelier. In the
Chandelier hanging out of her vagina.
in the 8-week vaginal kung fu salon, you'll learn.
What? Dude, she would break a
this
dick in
is a
half.
whole interesting world. And my crazy fiance, he was like, April, because he knows my background. He's like, you got to get into
Pineapple.
this stuff. And my fear is that if you get somebody just like working out, you would never, Brooke, I was listening to one of your things. I don't know what you were talking about. No, I think it was maybe you guys were talking about Jillian Michaels or something, and I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
that was hilarious.
Oh.
The whole one. It was a while ago.
Yeah, it was one of the first.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was, you're not going to take somebody new to working out and do the gnarliest CrossFit workout.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to coach them. You don't want them to get injured, blah, blah, blah. It's the same sort of thing with this. You're not going to go and
We're not going
have
to hang a
somebody
chandelier out your pussy. We're going to
Yeah.
start
All
with
right,
a
everyone take your finger
with a P. Yeah.
and squeeze. Can
Right.
you feel it? No? Don't squeeze your butt
swear.
cheeks, Gina.
The wrong hole.
That's step one.
Man, we should take a
And-
class.
Oh my
No.
God. I would die.
I just get worried that people will because in the world of social media, they'll see that and be like, oh, maybe that's what I need to do. Meanwhile,
hang a
what she
chandelier.
actually promotes is a whole training program.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, to get your pelvic floor to that point, you know, but it's,
I think it's going to be
I
my
give her
New Year's
credit for,
resolution for next year. I'm going to be able to hang a chandelier. Well, whoa, bless
God
you.
bless.
I'm going to buy you a chandelier for your birthday next year. You know where
know
this
what
is
that's
going?
Oh
You
my
know
You know
what
what? A friend comes over. Where are you going to hang this up? Oh, no, that's, don't touch
No,
that.
no, I got this.
Don't touch that. Right here.
Oh my God.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
so funny. I mean, it's pretty
So
amazing though.
it's an interesting world, you know,
Yeah.
but to me, it's also a segue because women's health was such a passion for me. I'm super stoked that my laser that can help all of this can help down there.
Yeah.
And it was like a gift from the universe. I don't know. I mean, I just sit back and I'm like, wow, because 20 years ago when I delved into that field, I just never thought it would all come together like that, you know, but it's
so cool.
Important.
Yeah, it really is.
It's
take it from someone my age. It's very important.
I think it's really cool that there are people that are really exploring like her, right? Like what she's teaching and helping people understand. And like even just the conversation of like, oh, your headphones. I know. Never done that before. The conversation of like the percentage of women that have never had an orgasm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy.
Oh my God.
You know, and like
nobody
you just
believes me.
Like it's actually really high. It's like crazy high.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I've seen like there's different like documentaries or shows that are kind of about like that type of stuff. And it's just it was just a very male dominated, you know, it was like, if you couldn't do that, it's like you weren't even really supposed to.
Well, and I think a lot of women were pretending.
And you pretend.
And because they didn't really know what they were, and they felt like they weren't doing something right. So, or something was wrong with them. So then they would pretend that they were having orgasms to make, I mean, not only themselves feel better, but the guy to feel better.
And realistically, it's like a lack of knowledge
of your own
own body.
Yeah.
And it's also really easy for people, I think now, for people to be like, oh yeah, like you should know your body. But then you know, people are discovering and, you know, using taboo terms or things that for a lot of people are like, oh my God, like why are you talking about that? But realistically, it's like, it's just women's health. Like it should be talked about. You should feel comfortable with it.
Right.
And, you know, we are more complex than males. Sorry, Eric.
Eric's over there like, oh God, please. I don't want to hear this now.
It really is like, it's very cool that there are people that are sort of like, you know, at the forefront of sort of like trying to get rid of all of the like weird connotation over this stuff. And like, it's not what it's,
like
not what
it's a dirty
about.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Well, and we all deserve an orgasm.
We all deserve an orgasm.
Right. Yay.
Or multiple.
Sure. I mean, when we bought the Diva handpiece for our laser, again, it all is a platform on the same laser. That's what's so amazing. You can keep building off it. You know, we got a special marketing person. And I'm like, why? I love my rep, Dylan. He's this cute little guy. He's like awesome. He comes down, helps us out. And I was like, okay. And they're like, it's a delicate subject. Yes, it is. But if you treat it too delicately, then you're making it taboo.
Right, exactly.
Like you said, this is part of our body, like my arm.
Yeah.
I have a vagina, okay? And yes, you know, it's hidden in pants right now. It's in the, but for guys, everything's out there. Viagra, Cialis, how many of those commercials do you see?
Right.
And the only like I don't watch TV anymore. I literally just watch podcasts and these things like this. But my father, who's 82, lives with me, and he'll sit there and watch TV. And one day I was just spending some time with him, and I'm watching horrified that there's Viagra, Cialis, and that one commercial, there's that old football player, and he's taking some like testosterone supplement. And he's getting sexy again. He's like 60 years old. And then the next commercial is a poise commercial for a woman.
Right?
And here's Julie.
Yeah,
And,
in her
you know,
diaper.
she's got like a 3-year-old, and she's like some high-functioning executive. She's trying to deal with things. Here's the baby. And then her solution is wear these freaking pads in your underwear.
Right.
I was so angry, and I'm yelling, and my dad's looking at me like, "What is wrong with you?" And
this is not right.
God!
Yeah, it's true.
You know,
just
that's
such
okay.
a
Women don't know.
It's like society continuing to ask for the oldest doctor in the room.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are we going to do for men when they have a limp dick? We're going to come up with this really cool thing, you know, to give them an erection. What are you going to do when women piss themselves? We're going to put them in a diaper. Wait, what?
What are you going to do when a woman can't get wet on her own?
What? We're going to squeeze.
She's broken.
Squirt some shit up there. What are you talking about?
She's broken. Send her back to the factory.
Right. No, you got to squeeze a bunch of like stuff in there, or you got to take hormones, or you have to have surgery.
Yeah.
You know, when I was doing women's health, those were my options for women. And as I started researching this, I was down in Monterey. I would be sending people over the hill because nobody had anything from Carmel to basically Santa Cruz Mountains to help. So I would send them over the hill for like a Mona Lisa or something, which is the older technology, because I said, you're not a good hormone candidate and you don't need it.
Right.
And surgery is your only other, like, this is not okay.
Right.
You know, so maybe this will work for you. But this technology has been evolving for years, and Diva finally took, and that's the same thing with Halo on the face. It took Fraxel technology, CO2. You know, I mean, the guy who invented Cyton is one of the grandfathers of laser. He did stuff in his basement because that was the only place they had a 220 outlet, and he was like insane. Probably could have blown up his house, but he just figured this stuff out. And over, you know, the years, this is where we've evolved. Like you said, you get the guy that knows, that went to school the most recent, because that's all the new stuff, you know. And I have great respect for the OBGYN that I worked with, Dr. Kateri. He was a PA first. And then back in the day, you couldn't do women's health. You were only in surgery or primary care. He wanted to deliver babies. So he goes back to med school, becomes a doctor. And then here I come along years later, and he's like, I should have just stayed a PA. I didn't realize you could do all these things.
Right.
But he was amazing because, you know, he had this like mentality of growth. And he would, even though I'm a PA, I'm not a doctor, he would ask me questions. You know why? I was in med school more recently than you.
Right. Well,
You've been out of school for 20 years.
And I would like to say, I don't mean that anybody who's older doesn't know. I mean, I think that there are people that take the time to continually educate themselves. So it's not necessarily just an age thing. And I would like to clarify that. And if you have an older doctor, it doesn't mean that they're not educated or don't know, but you want to make sure that you have somebody that's doing continued education is really what I mean.
Exactly.
I don't piss anybody off out there.
Because experience,
I'm an old doctor.
Well, experience plays a huge role. It's like someone who may not is a little bit, you know, older, seasoned, has the experience, and you might have someone come in that has all the most up to date learning, education, information, but maybe they
there's a combination of
you know
both,
you lack the ability to even like communicate it. You know, it's wonderful for people that, you know, we just want all the doctors to be.
Have more continued education.
Yeah, more open-minded, that like you don't know everything and that's okay. And you could probably still learn something from someone else.
There's always going to be more to learn. Yes.
Always.
All right, now we're going down a weird road.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, never.
A lot of people will say like, oh my God, you know, like you're a doctor, you're in your white coat. And I had a woman tell me years ago, OBGYN, one of the, like, I respect her so greatly. She goes, you know what, April, you don't need to know everything. You need to know the basics. Don't be a dumbass, you know the basics. But you have all these books and stuff. The internet came out. And when a patient asks a question that you're like, because they read something somewhere.
Right.
You're like, can I look into that? I will get right back to you. They so respect that.
Yes, absolutely. Instead of just pretending that they know. I know. Sorry, there's somebody at the door, so Maggie's barking. But no, you're right. Yeah. It's and you know what? I mean, that'll just send me down a whole other rabbit hole.
Don't do it then.
It's always okay to say you don't know something. I can't stand know-it-alls. It like drives me nuts. Like it's okay to say I don't know.
You do it all the time. Me too. I don't know, but let me ask Siri though.
I don't know.
I know. Well, you know, and that's the thing. It's like, be a little humble and be like, wow, there's so much stuff out there. Be open-minded. That's, you know, that's all you can ask for. And as a healthcare provider, you know, you're on board to do no harm and do the best for your patients. And if there is something out there, you know, that's the thing. I'm like, yeah, we're the only ones around here that do this. I wish every office had this. Because there's a million women out there, you know, just in Santa Cruz that should be getting this, you know, for medicinal purposes.
That need wet pussies.
Yeah. Everyone deserves
Everybody deserves a wet pussy. Sorry.
They really do, though.
They really do.
They really do.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, we've gone over an hour, which we usually try to stay around an hour, but it's been more than a pleasure.
Yeah.
No, it's not your fault.
We're gonna. There's so many things
I know.
we can talk
I still have
about
I could have
with
talked
you.
like another hour or so.
We're just gonna do this again and again.
Yeah.
And you have to let me know as soon as you guys are back up and
Back
going,
open.
because we're going
I'm
in
getting
for
lasered,
we're
man.
getting lasered.
I'm getting my hoo-hoo and my face. I'm getting it all. I'm doing it all. Yeah.
Well, if you guys could do me a favor, because I know you have a big following, ask your folks, like, what are women's issues that you really want to hear about? Because I will delve into that world. I want to give some good information, and I want to see, like, I have like our crowd, and I'm starting to get some feedback, because what I think is different. I know what's out there now. And so just throw it out there, like, because we can talk about anything, absolutely anything.
No, I love that.
So just throw it out there. What do you want to hear about,
Yeah.
Well, you guys,
why don't you?
what were you going to say?
I was going to say, well, why don't you tell everybody how to find you?
Yeah.
So
Like, where can they
you
find
can look
you?
at our website. We, of course, picked the worst name on the planet, Pacific Coast Aesthetics. And I don't know if you can see above my head is our little sign.
Yeah.
Aesthetics is AESTHETICS.
Got it.
Not the typical way.
Yeah.
But if you go on our website, we have like all our information, what we're about. We have video on the halo. Like, you watch a patient being treated and how she's feeling. You see she's not screaming. And we actually do things also a little differently. We have Pronox, the nitrous that you use in labor and delivery. Nitrous is awesome.
I love
It's
that.
very, like, you can drive yourself. It's in and out quick. But I tell you, it's a world of difference. And we do a couple other things a little differently for patient comfort. So if you look at that, that's probably your best bet. If you want to make an appointment, right now I'm in the office just doing I'm actually doing a few medical grade treatments, not at this point doing injectable sort of things until they clear us for that. But we'll return your phone call. I'm doing video consults with people. So if they want to do a consultation from the safety of their home, we can do that, get everything set up. So once we're cleared to go, we can get them in. So
Awesome.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Yeah.
Like, pretty
Thank
last
you
minute, I
guys
literally,
so much.
I like met her and I was like, would you like to be on my podcast?
I know. She instantly liked you, April.
You guys are so awesome.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are awesome. Thank you. And we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Okay.
Oh,
Bye.
bye.
See ya.
It's like the awkward part where you sit here and like you're both trying to hang up.
All right,
Wow,
guys.
she's pretty cool.
We're all done.
We're all done. I gotta pee.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot of information.
That was a lot of information.
And I think it was great.
Yeah.
She was so fantastic.
I know. She's very cool.
Yeah. You
Anyway.
guys, so check her out. And
Again, April Umek. Is that how you say it?
Umek.
Sorry, Umek.
April
Umek.
Yep. Remember to rate, review, subscribe, 5-star rating, 5-star warning.
And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.